All right, it is 12:02 p.m. on Thursday, April 11, 2024, and you're looking at what is impossible light activity that's appearing on the inside of a doorway and underneath a covered structure that's outside of the doorway, where the entity is suggesting that the sun is above us. And so the normal light activity would be a downward trajectory, but the light activity is such that the entity hits objects. You can pay the attention to the angular trajectory of that light as it hit objects. Also, whatever it hits, it takes on the shape of whatever it's hitting. And that's also speaking to, again, as impossible as that light activity is, it's also speaking to what is an admission as to the presence of the light source, which is under no circumstances the natural environment. This is how you're prosecuting the state that's placing you under surveillance, doing so through demonic methods, and doing it in concert with the people of the state who are at Alvarado Gardens. They're all living in relevant position, engaging in what is systematic maintenance and activity creation. Surrounding, again, everything that I do and everywhere that I go as I do it, including inside of a private space, which is the prosecution of a sex offender. The reason why I'm capturing video right now at 12:02 p.m., I'm inside of the Upland Public Library on October 1st, 2021 during daylight savings time. So it's the exact same time. The light source is directly over the roof, and you can see this through the light activity as I take a picture of the central area in the library where the roof is. There's windows on the roof of the Upland Public Library. Very easy to document and identify the light source with regard to the entity's illusion that the sun is above and everything is sunlight. That's the entity's illusion. And so the light source is captured. The engineer light is on the floors, and you'll see this in the still images in the folder for October 1st, 2021. And I'm capturing what's going on here because not only are you looking at the light activity here and the light source, which is here above. I'm standing in front of building 1810 in Los Angeles, California, has remained present, by the way. The entity maintaining engineer light inside of my apartment. Remember, the entity suggesting that the sun is rising in alignment to my apartment at building 1806 North Alvarado Street. You're talking about what was hours ago where I was standing out the same location. The light source is here. You're talking about negligible movement, and it is 12. So you're talking about 4 hours from now, the light source is just going to be on the opposite side of the same building. But remember, that's only if I don't move, because when I move back over here, that's what you saw yesterday afternoon, the light source goes to the same position. Remember, when I'm standing at the gate and I'm documenting the people that are pacing all around on Lobdell and Effie and Brandon and Avalon, they're pacing all around, and as I move over here, this light source is seen in the afternoon at the same exact location. That's how you're capturing what is stalking with the light source. As you just pay attention to the stalking conduct, and the entity forgets the fact that it's supposed to be mimicking the natural environment, and under no circumstances hours from now is the sun going to be at the same location. But that's how you're understanding and witnessing what is moving with a light source in real time stalking. And while the entity is stalking with light, the entity is stalking with light. Light source stays over me. The people of the state stay all around me. And that's how you're having group stalking living in relevant position. And it is, the hallmark is the entity is stalking by these demon possessed and corrupt law enforcement agencies. And as you see, LAPD exhibit on an ongoing basis, 24 hours a day in helicopters. So at 12:02 p.m., the light source remains here, and you're also going to remember what the entity is doing in my apartment while I'm showing you what is the specific environment here in LA and the specific environment as I documented when I was in an entirely different region. And then you're mindful of the light activity in my apartment, on my walls, obviously on the ceilings. This is obvious. It's also obvious when it's on the floor. Because again, the sun, that would be, and this is the light source, but again, the logic follows. And nature operates accordingly. The sun is above us, not hovering over a building like it is here, not engaging in what is this angular conduct. The sun is heightened, not a hovering object that's directly over buildings, doing gymnastics underneath structures and into doorways, okay? Stretching in the afternoon into the depths of the office while it's maintaining stationary presence, by the way, okay? And then you have the obvious where the entity is creating like a smoke screen of light that just appears on the walls and on the file cabinets. All of this is the same exact impossible light activity. This is just another iteration of equally impossible light activity, especially while you're looking at October 1st, the light source is remaining over the Upland Public Library. Okay, and you're looking at what is criminal summoning as the entity is arriving under that light source at the Upland Public Library, and this is during the 12 o'clock hour, and you know that the entity is keeping the light source as I go to my my apartment, and the light source is then over building 1806. This is not over building 1806. I have to turn this direction to be facing building 1806. But when I'm in there and when I'm in my apartment, you see the light source that's over the front of my apartment over there. That's not here. And it's also not over the Upland Public Library. Blatant stalking with the light source, blatant stalking in the path. And that's what demons do. It tells you all of their condition and their criminal conduct. Okay? And it is an unfathomable federal offense committed by the state. It is currently 12:07 p.m. This is the maintenance of the specific environment, which you're going to look at. It's speaking to what Officer Ramos of the Upland Police Department was engaging in concert with the people who engaged in criminal summoning, and that's grounds of federal prison. Okay, that's highly malicious conduct that results in the kidnapping of the targeted individual. The entity engages in kidnapping. And also, you're talking about what is rapidly the narrative that the people of the state create, summoning the entity that's stalking you day and night, placing you under surveillance. Let me be clear. The entity that engages in kidnapping that rapidly transforms into what is kidnapping into the mental ward, putting you in the uniform and keeping you in jail, keeping all of your property, including keeping the documentation of the entity literally seizing your evidence to prosecute it, okay? The audacity, but this is what the entity engages in, and I want to be clear, having been subject to kidnapping on more than one occasion by this entity that's been keeping me under surveillance for years, engaging in what is criminal defamation, making up information in the first place, and then summoning the entity to arrive and put you in handcuffs, which is a kidnapping. No valid operation, no valid authority under the law whatsoever. The state is actually the criminal, and then you have what is what rapidly occurs, which is the entity through the sheriff's department, through the courts, through those that call themselves so-called mental health professionals, none of whom you even have to talk to. They create a narrative on paper. They create the legal procedure in so-called court hearings. They're literally manufacturing it. This is how you have somebody that's kidnapped. It rapidly happens just like that. So you're understanding the threat that the people of the state pose when they're engaging in criminal summoning. And this is happening to people in the country and nobody knows about it. This is why I am advocating the policy that I do. Okay. And I've also documented I've been subject to it. And if they being the entity is audacious enough to do it to someone who is a legal practitioner, I'm an attorney. I know the law. Okay. I'm not practicing right now because this entity that's been engaged in monitoring that foreseeably creates what is an inability to practice law. The entity doesn't want to hire. The entity wants to hire just to harass. And then the entity wants to unlawfully dismiss while you report what is their ongoing. First of all, they're monitoring and they're harassing you. And I'm talking about my time in the legal profession and also in property management. And now I'm still documenting the same exact entity that's monitoring while I'm in Los Angeles. But nonetheless, the entity, I still maintain the same legal skill set, and I'm prosecuting the people of the state. I'm prosecuting the state of California with that skill set. But like I said, they did it to somebody that knows the law and knows my constitutional rights. I've been in the system, and they just kept me in jail, did not give me a court hearing, made up hearings, made up information, refused to allow me to speak for myself. They're doing this to people that don't even know the law, don't know their rights. They did it to someone. I know the law. I know my rights. I know what they're supposed to do, what procedure is, and they did it to me. So everything that I'm advocating, everything that I'm speaking to, everything that I'm providing a naming convention for it, it's summoning, but it's criminal. It's serving to conceal the pattern of conduct. So it is criminal summoning. It's literally the stalker is summoning the stalker. It is summoning itself. Psychotic behavior, highly malicious. The federal government rewards that with federal prison. It is currently 12:11 p.m. This is the maintenance of the light source at Alvarado Gardens, where again monitoring remains. The elements remain. The entity is monitoring inside of this private space. Under no circumstances, in other words, is what you're learning, is any of that light activity ever going to be present in my apartment. Never is there any sun rising or setting in alignment to my apartment or going to be over Alvarado Gardens for the duration of the day. Not only is that not the natural environment, it's not even going to occur if there's a body of evidence of what the entity is clearly engaging in. And it is a satanic, ritualistic method of keeping one under surveillance. Central to this group stalking, gang stalking system, which is criminal surveillance by the state, is engineered light. Okay, it is currently 12:11 p.m. and this is P.O.C. I want you to see the light source as I conclude this video. This is P.O.C.